Hey, amazing parents. How are you all doing? Welcome back to our channel. And today I'm going to be speaking on something that every parent of a teenager needs to understand. It's called individuation. Have you ever heard of that word before? Individuation is a psychological, developmental, and actually a relational process that every teenager goes through, whether we as parents are ready for it or not. The thing is, many parents misinterpret individuation as disrespect, rebellion, or that, yes, our teenagers are now growing apart from us, then they don't love us anymore. But it's actually none of that. It's actually your child becoming more of an individual. It's becoming more of who actually God created them to be. It's very, very important because every teenager goes through it. Let me just break it down what it is. And according to what I've read about it, is that it is, when we define it, is apparently it's a process where teenagers begin to form a separate identity from us as parents. This separate identity could be emotionally, mentally, socially, and even spiritually. Yes. It's not rejection. It's not rebellion. It's not them pulling away from us. It's not that, oh, social media has taken them away from us, as many parents actually say. It's them saying, I am discovering who I am, not just who I have been taught to be. And honestly, parents, individuation is healthy. It's necessary. And if you're faith-based like me, it's actually God designed. Your child is learning what to think. They're learning what they believe. They're learning what matters to them. They're learning what they value. And these are things that they need so that they're able to navigate life as an independent human being. We're not going to be in their lives forever. They're not going to be with us 24/7. So they need to know who they are, apart from who we've taught them to be. They need to discover who they are. And this is what individuation is. And what I want to share here is I want to also share some signs and characteristics of when individuation is happening. Because it happens. But because we don't interpret it as individuation, we see it as rebellion, we don't get to then support them through that process. So it's very, very vital. I'll share with you some signs that your child is already individuating, or your teenager. Sometimes these teenagers, sometimes your children may not even wait till 13. Sometimes you're already individuating at 12 or even 11. Sometimes. Now, one of the first signs of individuation is the increased desire for privacy. You start to notice that your child wants to spend more time alone. It's not because they don't love you. They're just beginning to discover who they are. That increased time on their own, that more space, more time alone. You see them even getting frustrated when their siblings are always in their spaces. They're not being difficult. It's part of their individuation process. Part of it. Number two, questioning parents' opinions. They will start to ask questions that they were not asking you before. They may start to challenge your opinions, challenge your rules. They're not attacking you. They're just practicing how to start thinking by themselves. And it's so important that we recognize it so that we can then answer the questions and not defend ourselves or shut them up because they're questioning our opinions. Our opinions are going to be questioned. And a lot of times when we raise children who cannot sometimes question our opinions, we're actually just delaying the process. It will still happen sometime. So it's important that we let it happen at the right time. Okay, and I'm going to talk about that as we go along. Number three is exploring identity. You will start to see teenagers start having an interest in different styles. You see your boys wanting to cut their hair in a different style. Don't stop them. I had a parent some time ago who the son wanted this hairstyle or had a hairstyle, and she went and took him to the barbers and made them cut the whole hair. As I watched that video, and I teared up for the boy. Yeah, but we'll come back. We'll talk some more on those kind of things. But they are exploring their identity. They want to try out some styles. They want to start trying out some kinds of music, interests, friendships, beliefs. All these kind of things start to happen in the teenage years. And it's so important that we support, guide them, and be with them as they make these changes or as they explore these things. There's a process to it. I'll talk about that soon. Okay. All right, cool. So those are some of the characteristics. Another characteristic of individuation is their peers now having more influence on them. So you can say something, but they may not believe you. But when their friend says the same thing you said, have you noticed that? They believe their friend over you. It happens. It's part of that um, process because their friends as well are also going through identity development. So they're mirroring each other. Yeah, they're mirroring each other. So there's more influence from their peers. It doesn't mean you're not important anymore, parents. It just means this part of the process. They're friends. So one of the things you do if you're someone of faith, you start to pray that they have healthy peers around them because those peers are going to influence them one way or the other, or they influence other peers as well. So that's part of some of the characteristics of individuation. Another characteristic is emotional ups and downs. You find out your teenager, 1 minute they want to talk to you, next minute they don't want to talk to you. 1 minute they're in a good mood, another minute they're not in a good mood. They're just kind of between hormones. And this happens. This is a natural process that happens. They're not being rude at you when they're not in the mood. For me, when I see that they're not in the mood, I just walk away, do my thing. When I catch them in a better mood, I come back and talk to them. So because you don't want that feeling, because they may respond to you in a rude way because they're not in the mood. Not that they intentionally want to do it, but that's not the right timing to start talking to them about stuff. So you've got to be able to read the room with teenagers and support them as they go through those emotional ups and downs. Another characteristic of individuation is the need for respect is higher. They want to be heard. They want to be seen. They want to know that you take them seriously and you're treating them with growing maturity. That's part of the individuation process. And it's so vital that we recognize it. So vital that we recognize it. Other kind of things will be, another characteristic may be they're making decisions independently. And we need to support them in that. Even when you want to step in, they want to try it on their own. That's part of the individuation process. Part of it. So there are many others, but that's what these are the points I will share for now, those characteristics. And it's so important that we look at them as normal signs that your teenager is actually becoming an adult. Now, some parents have asked, how long does this individuation last? Because I'm not even sure of this process, but how long does it last? And normally, individuation lasts between 1 to 5 years, depending on your child's maturity, depending on their emotional safety at home, depending on how we as parents are responding to them and how much room they're being given to grow. You see, when it's supported very well, individuation can be complete during the teenagers and young adult ages. But when we resist it, when we control it, it gets delayed. And guess what? When individuation gets delayed, you know what happens? Like if we shut it down, if we shame it, if we mislabel it, if we over control it, guess what happens? Individuation doesn't disappear. It simply just gets postponed. It simply just gets postponed. And guess what? When it gets postponed, it will still show up later. It may show up in their 20s, in their 30s, and guess what? Sometimes it even shows up in marriage. My. And when it shows up at such a later stage, you will see it as emotional immaturity. You will see it as poor boundary skills, conflict in relationships, difficulty making decisions, because you now have a full-grown adult who is trying to do those developmental tasks that they should have done as a teenager. Did you see what I mean? So resisting it, not understanding it, delaying it, it's not going to go away. Individuation is a natural process. It's still going to be there. It's just that it's going to be postponed to the wrong timing. So when they're fully grown, that's when it's going to be. So as parents, we need to learn how to support the healthy individuation of your child. Because again, I'm not saying this about leaving your child, your teenager, to just do what they want. Because what some parents can do is, some parents don't realize that there's a balance. They may just go the extreme way that, oh, okay, my teenager wants to be, he's exploring, so he can just do whatever he wants without guidance, without connection. No, that's not healthy either. We need to guide them as they individuate. Individuation doesn't mean leave them on their own, just let them get on with it. No, Their brains have not fully matured, fully developed, so we still need to guide them. But there are very healthy ways to guide them so that you're there in the balance. Okay? Very, very important. Number one, how can you support them? Choose curiosity over control. Yeah. Choose curiosity over control. It's not about telling them what they must do. Ask them questions. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? If they've done something out of the ordinary, out of the extraordinary, or out of the ordinary, they've misbehaved, whatever. What's going on? Let me know. Talk to me. What were some thoughts behind this? Talk, ask questions, be curious over the control. That's how you support a healthy individuation. Number two, validate their growth. So say things like, you know what, I can see that you're figuring things out. I can see that you're learning this process. I can see that you were thinking about this. Validate their growth. They're growing. Sometimes I can see your mood changes. That's part of your growth. You can even talk to them about their mood changes in that way. I see that's actually part of your growth. So I understand. I understand when you're in those mood swings that you are. And sometimes you can encourage them in how to handle it. In those times when they're moody, come separate yourself. And if somebody comes or your little sibling comes, just say, you know what, Mom, I want to spend some time by myself for now. And then you spend that healthy time by yourself so that your younger siblings are not in the way and not disturbing you in that. You have to teach them how you want them, how the matured way to respond even to their emotional swings. It's important that we teach them that. But we teach them that because we're validating their growth. Yeah. Number three, listen before you lecture, listen before you go at them. Practice active listening. Active listening is so vital because that individuation, remember one of the signs I shared is that they want to be heard. And so because they want to be heard, we need to really practice listening to them without interrupting, without lecturing, without yelling at them, without dismissing them, without judging them, without comparing them. We need to learn how to listen to them. It's so vital because they remember. It's so vital because it helps them with their growth in the individuation process. Okay. We also have to learn how to, number four, we need to learn how to offer them guidance, not dominance. And this is where I come from, where some parents, because yes, they don't want to offer dominance, then they go the extreme way of just letting them be. But this is where the importance of guidance comes in. We're still there, walking alongside with them. That's what it's about. We're working alongside with them as they mature, as they become more independent. We are walking alongside with them. Very important because this is the healthy way to go. Number five, respect their boundaries. Respect their boundaries. Knock on their doors before you go into their rooms. I know I hear many parents say, well, this is my house. Why should my child have their door locked? It's individuation. They want more space, more privacy in a healthy way. We're not saying leave them, let them stay there for 24 hours a day. Talk to them about it, but don't shut them down. I've even seen some videos where the parents went and unscrewed the doors like, oh, why should you have your door closed in my house? And I always encourage parents, and I tell this to parents, I never call my house my house. It's our home. It's our home. So vital. The language that we use in our homes. So vital. So respect their boundaries and talk to them about it. Talk to them through it. As I said, we don't want them locking themselves in the room for 24 hours, but it's important to understand that that is part of their individuation. And then talk to them having healthier ways to spend time on by themselves. Very important. Yeah. And then I'm written down here, encourage reflection. It's a deep topic, and I think I'm going to talk about that more and more because when we ask them questions like, what did you learn about this? What are some lessons you learned? What are some, you're asking them questions to make them reflect. And that's why when we correct our teenagers, it needs to be much more than just yelling at them. Now, we need to get them practicing reflective thinking. So the way to support individuation, encourage those reflection questions so that they have time to think for themselves, because that's what individuation is about, isn't it? So we get them to practice it. So very, very vital. Very, very vital. And then if you're a faith-based person like I am, then another way to support them, continue to pray for them, bless them, trust God's timing in their growth, and just keep on supporting them. For that, they need your support. So in conclusion, individuation is not breaking away. No. Individuation is actually growing up. Your child is becoming more and more of who God designed them to be. And that's so vital that we support it, we guide it, and we honor it. So that your child individuates at the right time and not leaving it for later. Because at the end of the day, parents, we're not raising children so that they stay dependent on us. No, we're raising them so that they become confident, responsible, and fully grown adults in themselves. They're rooted in love, they're grounded in identity, and they're strong in character. That's what we want for our children. So individuation is a vital part of your child's growth. If you were blessed by this, please like it, share it, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what sign in individuation are you noticing in your child. Let me know. Are you seeing them wanting to spend more time alone? Or, let me know amongst all the characteristics I shared. Let me know what your child's individuation, what individuation are you seeing more in your teenagers recently? So with that, I will say take care and remember, I am rooting for you all the way. Take care and I will see you this time next week. God bless. Bye-bye.